You know, every single one of your devices has a secret identity. It's not your IP address. Nope. This is something way more permanent, a unique ID that's literally burned into its hardware from the day it was made. Today, we're going to decode this digital fingerprint. Think about it. Your IP address, that can change every single time you connect to a new Wi-Fi network. This is something much deeper, an identifier for the physical hardware itself. So, what exactly is it? All right, let's jump right in. We're going to unpack what this unique fingerprint really is, the one that's assigned to every single network device ever made. It's called a MAC address, and that stands for Media Access Control. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a social security number for your device's network card. It's a 48-bit address, and its main job is to identify your device on your local network, like your home Wi-Fi where your laptop, phone, and printer are all talking to each other directly. Now, things can get a little confusing because you'll hear this called a bunch of different things. Hardware address, physical address, sometimes even a burned-in address. But don't let it throw you off. They all mean the exact same thing, that unique physical ID of your hardware. So, what does one of these addresses actually look like? At first glance, it might just seem like a random jumble of numbers and letters, but trust me, there's a really cool logic to it. Let's break it down. Okay, so at its core, every single MAC address is a 48-bit number. Now that structure gives us, get this, over 281 trillion possible unique addresses. Yeah, trillion. That's more than enough to make sure no two devices in the world ever accidentally get the same one. And here's where it gets really clever. That 48-bit address is split right down the middle. The first half, the first 24 bits, is called the OUI. That stands for Organizationally Unique Identifier, and it basically tells you who made the device. Is it an Apple product, an Intel chip, a Cisco router? The last 24 bits are then a unique serial number that the manufacturer assigns. It's a brilliant system, right? Part company ID, part device ID. Of course, trying to read a 48-digit string of ones and zeros would be a nightmare for us humans. So to make it easier on our eyes, it's converted into a 12-digit hexadecimal format. That's why you see a mix of numbers 0 through 9 and the letters A through F. Much cleaner. Okay, so we've cracked the code of what it is, but what does it actually do? Well, let's imagine your MAC address is like a dedicated postman, but one that only works on your specific street. You see, in networking, everything happens in layers. MAC addresses do their work on a really fundamental level, layer 2, which is also called the Datalink layer. Sticking with our postman analogy, this is the local delivery layer. It's all about getting packages of data between devices that are physically on the same network. And here's how that plays out in the real world. Let's say you send a file from your laptop to your printer over your home Wi-Fi. Your router acts like a local traffic cop. It looks at the data packet, sees the destination MAC address, and says, aha, this is for the printer over there, and sends it directly to that specific physical device. It's all about that local network switching. So are you curious what your own device's MAC address is? You can find it on pretty much anything you own that connects to a network. Let's run through a few super quick ways you can look it up yourself. If you're on a Windows machine, here's a little pro tip for you. Just open up the command prompt, type get MAC, and hit enter. Boom! The line item called physical address, that's it. It's as simple as that. But hey, if the command line isn't your thing, no worries at all. You can find it just as easily through the regular menus. Just navigate through your control panel to your network connection details, and you'll see the physical address listed right there. For all you Linux users out there, it's just as straightforward. Pop open a terminal, type ifconfig, and just look for the field that's labeled ether or HW address. That 12-digit code staring back at you is exactly what you're looking for. And for those of you who actually manage network gear, you can even find the MAC address of a specific port on a router or switch. Just use a show interface command. This really shows you how fundamental this address is at every single level of a network. So, what's the big takeaway here? Your MAC address is the unique hardware ID for your device. It's that physical fingerprint. Now, even though we call it permanent, it's not totally tamper-proof. More advanced users can sometimes change it in their software. That's a technique called MAC spoofing. But at its core, this is the ID your hardware was born with. So, now you know your device's physical address, its local identity. But remember our local postman? He can't deliver mail across the country. So how does your data travel across the entire global internet? Well, that's a whole other story, and it involves another kind of address entirely.